Hello and welcome to This Week in Tailgaters. My name is JJ Angelo. This is Shane Palma, and we are back once again ready to talk pro sports and have some fun and do it quickly because you got a Yankees game to watch.
I do. I very much do have a Yankees game to watch. I can't wait.
So, let's get started.
Yes.
First and foremost, biggest news of today from yesterday, NHL. The Stanley Cup champion was crowned. Stanley Cup is in the hands of none other than the Tampa Bay Lightning. Congrats to the Lightning. They won the series 4-2 in 6 games against the Dallas Stars. Shane?
Yeah, this was the first major championship to be crowned in North America since the pandemic really hit. And you know, it's great to see that sports are really in full effect when you have champions crowned. You know, people are saying that baseball may not count. People don't want to see it in the same eyes because shortened season. It's not the same. This season was almost fully finished in the NHL. They did a great job in the bubble there.
Yeah.
They came out with the champion. Congrats to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Well deserved. You want to talk about last year when they got bounced early because they definitely needed this redemption story this year.
Yeah, I couldn't help but think Virginia basketball from 2018
Exactly.
March Madness getting bounced out as the 1 seed, the number 1 overall seed against UMBC, and then coming back next year and winning the whole thing. I couldn't help but think that same thing happened with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tied the best record in NHL history in 2019, swept in the playoffs against Columbus, and then comes back this year and wins it all. And congratulations to the Lightning. Now, as the NHL is ending their championship season, the NBA is ramping up for the finals, the NBA finals, not NFL. And we got the Heat versus the Lakers. In my opinion, the best possible matchup out there for most storylines,
That's
most
interesting
entertainment.
that you say because I've heard a lot of people on Twitter saying that this was one of the worst possible matchups.
Really?
Saying that there's not a chance that Jimmy Butler can go up against LeBron and AD.
I think the Lakers will win it pretty handily, but I think if you're talking just from storyline standpoint, LeBron versus his own team, Jimmy getting his first finals after being called out as not a team player on his several past teams, I think there's storylines everywhere. Yes, Lakers probably going to win it in 5-6 is my guess, but I think it's set to be entertaining from the get-go. The Heat have showed this playoffs that there is no matchup too big for them after taking down Giannis and the Celtics. I think it's going to be fun from the start.
I want to pose this question to you. You look at these two teams and you look at their benches. They're both extremely deep at almost every single position. Who do you give the advantage to overall?
It's hard. I think you have to give it to the Heat just with guys, shooters that they have up and down. Guys, first thing that comes to mind is Duncan Robinson.
Absolutely.
And the Lakers also have that depth, Caruso, and so, but the Lakers beat them out in the starting lineups, and I think that's what matters a little bit more.
The star power on the Lakers is, you know, in terms of league talent, it's at the top. It's probably number 1, starting LeBron and AD. That duo is almost unstoppable, and we've seen that throughout the season when both guys are healthy and on the court. These guys can't be beat. Yeah. The Heat, obviously, Bam Adebayo, fantastic center. Jimmy Butler, key guy on that team there. In terms of overall depth, though, I would give it to the Heat, but talent-wise, it's the Lakers.
Absolutely. So, based on that, I think I know what your answer is going to be, but who's winning this series, Shane?
Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5.
I would give the Heat 6 games. I know they've been extremely resilient this entire postseason, but it's LeBron James. I mean, he knows this is a Kobe season right here. Yeah. This one is for Kobe Bryant. They're gonna win this one in 5. I'll give Jimmy Butler 1 game, but nothing more than that.
Okay, I respect that. Yeah, I think 5 or 6, definitely not 7. But
it could. That would be awesome. I'll be honest, that would be extremely fun to watch.
It'd be a lot of fun, and you can't say definitely no because it's the Miami Heat and just how they played this season. But I am looking forward to that. Also looking forward to that, and probably the thing you're looking forward to most, starting in just a few minutes, the Wild Card Series in the Major League
It's been going on all day so far.
I mean, yeah, but for you, it's just ramping up.
Yes, the Yankees going underway in just a few minutes, honestly. Garrett Cole against Shane Bieber, one of the better pitching duels you'll see in Major League Baseball. Yeah. So far today, we already saw the Astros dethrone the Twins. I heard someone put a lot of money on the Twins yesterday. They are not happy right now. I think it was like a $500,000 bet. Honestly,
no kidding.
It was insane.
Oh
I got a notification on Twitter. Someone is not a happy camper right now. But obviously, if they have that much money to put on the game, they're probably still sitting pretty good.
500,000 is 500,000.
Yeah.
But So we are starting with the wild card series, which has never been done before. All teams are playing, which I love, and all teams are playing a best-of-3 matchup ranked in a 16-team bracket, which the expanded playoffs has allowed a lot more teams to get in than usual. Some teams pretenders, some teams contenders in those lower seeds. I like teams like the Sox. They're a 7 seed, but I think the
White Sox were not good enough to make it.
The White Sox, a 7 seed, but I think they have a great chance to go all the way to the ALCS or even further. What are some other pretenders and contenders of those lower seeds that you're seeing?
I'm going to be honest. I took a long, hard look at all the teams on the rosters here. I don't think there is a true pretender.
Yeah.
I think all these teams have a chance. In a 3-game series, anything can happen. We've seen that so far this season. You look at the numbers, you look at where teams finished, there was extremely little movement between the numbers. It was like 33 and 20 and 21 or some like close matchups. Blue Jays are an 8 seed. They're going up against Tampa Bay in the first round.
Yeah.
Blue Jays, I would not count them out. I think they got a great roster. They're extremely hot right now. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, Hyunjin Ryu, who came from the Dodgers, who had a fantastic season last season, now pitching as the ace of the Blue Jays. That team can't be counted out. If I had to pick one pretender, I'd probably say the Brewers. They kind of squeaked their way into this one. They weren't above 500, and they lost their best pitcher, Corbin Burns, who I think is a top 20 pitcher in the league, honestly. But losing him for the postseason hurts tremendously. He was their go-to guy, ace of this team. Not having him is going to hurt.
Yeah, I think it's a wild card series. Anything has happened, just like you said, and I think the key word is wild. You can't expect one thing to go one way or another. It just takes a couple breaks, bad hops, and things go a whole different way.
There's going to be upsets.
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
going to be upsets.
There's going to be a lot of upsets. I'm just thinking Nationals Brewers wild card game last year. Just that ball goes over the outfielder's head.
Trent Grisham, and to think that he Manny Machado and Tatis have really catapulted the Padres up into that top spot behind the Dodgers in the National League. But Trent Grisham has been a fantastic leadoff man for them this entire season, really rejuvenated his career there in San Diego.
Yeah. So, to close off this segment, World Series picks. Let's hear it, Shane. Come on.
Can I say the Yankees? Is it fair? I know it's a little bit biased.
I think you can say the Yankees
at full strength, or I would say close to unbeatable.
I would have to agree with that. Why are they a 5 seed though? It's a little bit interesting.
They had a very interesting season. Yeah. If you look back at 2019, it was plagued with injuries. And you can ask any Yankee fan, they were waiting for the 30 for 30 to come out on ESPN, where they had to call up basically guys from their AA Trenton affiliate just to fill holes in this roster. They still made it to the playoffs. They still won the division last year. Yeah. You look at it this year, they lost Judge, Stanton, Glaber, DJ for a long period of time. But here they are. You look at the playoffs, the lineup tonight. Luke Voit, your home run king for this season. He led the league in home runs, and now they're back at full strength. They lost James Paxton, but they still got Garrett Cole. They got Masahiro Tanaka. And rookie Devi Garcia, who I've been waiting to be called up, he's in that rotation now, and he looks phenomenal.
Yeah, and would you say the streakiness of this season as compared to injuries is also a problem, or you don't envision that at all?
It'll be interesting to see what they do against Shane Bieber tonight at the time of recording this. If they're able to hit him, I think they can hit any pitcher that they're going to go up against. Mm-hmm. If they struggle just a little bit, this lineup hasn't been together long enough consistently this season to gain the chemistry that we've seen in the past. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem for the Yankees to get hot and keep going. Gary Sanchez is going to be an X factor in this playoffs. I'll say that right now. He's not catching Garrett Cole tonight. If he was arguably Rookie of the Year the one year that Michael Fulmer won it over him, which I still think is absolutely ridiculous. Nonetheless, I think that Gary Sanchez, if he starts in these games and he's batting 8th, he had more home runs or he had more RBIs than total hits this season.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's an insane stat. So if Gary Sanchez is going this postseason, you can almost bet the Yankees will make it to the World Series to face the San Diego Padres.
The Padres, okay. I was going to say on the other side of the coast, I think is where we're going to find our World Series pick. I love the Padres as a World Series pick. I think they will inevitably match up against the Dodgers. I can't really pick against the Dodgers this year.
I know, it's always
good.
Tough. But
it's
like
really
they always, I don't want to say they always choke. They find a way to lose. And it's disappointing for them as fans.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing has been said about the Yankees for the past few years. You know, they've found ways to lose. They've held leads in these series, and they just can't close it.
Yeah.
This could be the year that the Dodgers close it, though.
I think this will be the year that the Dodgers close it with the pitching staff they have, and as well as the hitters, Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger.
I mean, you add Mookie Betts into the mix. They didn't have him last year. You'd have to hope that they just make it to the World Series.
You gotta think. Well, in the only major sport that isn't really in their playoff postseason stretch, but still in a very quickly rising, heating up stretch of the season is the NFL. We had a fun week this past week. Shane, let's work through it. First and foremost, what do we got working here?
Well, I can tell you right off the bat, I mentioned the word choking and talk about the Atlanta Falcons against the Chicago Bears. Could you put this on Nick Foles coming into this game, throwing 3 touchdowns? Could have been 4 touchdowns, could have been 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
A few different throws went his way. With his magic that we've seen in the past, coming up as a backup and a starter and ultimately winning the Super Bowl for the Eagles?
Yeah.
Or is this just bad coaching by Dan Quinn, who for some reason still has a job with the Atlanta Falcons? I'm shocked that he made it through last season. I don't think he lasts very long. I think it's going to be the battle of who gets fired first, Adam Gase or Dan Quinn. It'll be really interesting. But the Bears, 3-0, talk about pretenders.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that situation, but... Listen, if Nick Foles is going to be as good as we've seen him come up to be in the past, Bears can absolutely make a run out of this division.
Yeah, in division besides the Packers that are super solid, you got the Lions, you never know, and the Vikings
who are tanking at this point.
I think the Bears have a chance to get that wild card spot.
Especially with the added wild card this year. You add in one more team to make the wild card. The Bears can absolutely have a run.
They definitely can. Now, let's talk about another almost choke and another very dangerous score to have, the 28-3 lead. We saw the Bills go up 28-3 versus the Rams. Rams almost made it back. There was a controversial DPI call towards the end, which allowed the Bills to get another shot, which they took advantage of and scored and won the game. Shane, give me it real quick. Was this the correct call?
You know, it's really tough to say. I think when you look at the Sean McVay offense, in terms of Jared Goff also playing on the road, I don't know how much of a game that I'd put in his hands at this point. I don't know how much I trust Jared Goff as a quarterback on this team. I think the Rams played a great game. I think the Bills were just honestly the better team.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen going down the field as he did just proves that he is a legitimate quarterback to be taken seriously in this league, not only as a runner, but also as a passer.
Yeah.
I think the Bills are going to end up winning this division this season. I don't know if that's a hot take because I know the Patriots are also 2-1 at this point with Cam Newton at the helm. But yeah, the Rams, I think they're still a good team. I don't know if they're as great as they once were when they made the Super Bowl years ago. They lost pieces along the way, Todd Gurley being the most notable one. Even just losing his production last season to what it used to be really derailed their plans as a team. But listen, the Rams, the Bills, that was a great game to watch, and the Bills they're real. They're real.
They absolutely are. Now, speaking of just a couple years back, looking at that, I think we were looking at the Packers a couple years back and saying, are we on the verge of a rebuild? But now we're looking at Aaron Rodgers arguably playing the best he has.
He would never let a rebuild happen under his watch.
I would not be expecting that with A-Rod. As long as he's on the roster, they got a chance. But they were kind of shaky these past couple years, but now they are 3-0 and they look unstoppable.
It's really interesting though when you look at their team because they didn't add a wide receiver in free agency or in the draft. They added A.J. Dillon at running back, but Rodgers' supporting cast around him has been lackluster besides Devontae Adams the past few years.
Yeah.
They tried to bring in Jimmy Graham. That was a failed experiment.
Yeah.
They lost Jordy Nelson, obviously years ago, one of Rodgers' favorite targets of all time. He's throwing to Adams. Awesome. You know, Adams is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. He was out this past week.
Yeah.
He still made Allen Lazard look like a star in that offense.
Did, yeah.
Marquez Valdes-Scantling's there, and then obviously the run game with Aaron Jones. He's a great running back in this league.
Yeah, he absolutely has really stepped it up. So on the other side of that, is it time to worry about the Saints? Give me a quick.
You know, Drew Brees still almost threw for 300 yards for 3 touchdowns. I don't know if it's totally time to give up on him yet. They do have Jameis Winston behind him. Drew Brees, I will say, I said it last week, I don't think he has the arm strength that he once would.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously apparent by his lack of ability to throw the ball downfield, as we saw that Aaron Rodgers did this game. The age might be catching up to Brees a little bit. Could, if the Saints fall to 1-3, 1-4, decide to bring Jameis in? Absolutely. I definitely think that they see Jameis at this point signing him as the heir apparent to Drew Brees. It's not Taysom Hill.
Yep.
Taysom Hill is one of those tight end, running back, quarterback hybrids that I don't think is ever going to be a startable quarterback in the league. But Jameis Winston, listen, he was supposed to be the guy for Tampa Bay. Very good chance he could end up being the guy in New Orleans.
Okay, that's an interesting take. I think at the same level as the Packers and Aaron Rodgers go, as long as Drew Brees is on the roster.
And that could be very well true.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of if Drew Brees is going to keep up this consistent of play or inconsistent of play, to say the least. We'll see what happens when he gets Michael Thomas back. He hasn't had Thomas for 2 weeks. He hasn't had a healthy Thomas all season. If Michael Thomas is back and the same MT that we know and love, then yes, I think Drew Brees will obviously ride it out as long as he can for this Saints offense.
Absolutely. Now, the last game of the week happened last night. Chiefs, Ravens, probably the two best teams in the NFL going head-to-head. And it was only a 2-touchdown game, but to be honest, the Chiefs looked like they were dominating the Ravens. Ravens didn't really look like they had a shot.
No, and you say best teams in the league, and I don't want to say anything bad about the Ravens because obviously they're a fantastic team, especially on defense, very lethal on defense. Offense, a little bit inconsistent. I'm not sure if it's because their wide receivers are not high caliber like other teams. Like they have Marquise Brown. Hollywood Brown's a great wide receiver. I don't think he's a number one. I don't think he's a true number one. Miles Boykin, Willie Snead, they round out that wide receiving core. Obviously, they have Mark Andrews. I think they need to use J.K. Dobbins more. I saw Mark Ingram didn't look like his normal self last night. He's starting to look a little bit slow, a little bit like his age, like we said about Drew Brees. It might be time to move on from Ingram and let Dobbins have this role. Obviously, Lamar's going to do his thing and run. But if the Ravens really want to be Super Bowl contenders this year, they should look into adding another wide receiver by the trade deadline.
Sure. Yeah. I think they have a lot of young pieces. Pretty incredible the season they had for just the youth that they have on the team. And it's only going to grow from here. So that is all that we have for today. I'm JJ Angelo. This is Shane Palma.
Who needs to go watch a Yankee game
we got to get this kid out of here. But we thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you real soon. Take it easy.